Welcome back. Outside Minds podcast. Because you've already seen too much, bro.
They only added it so it could be like a ritual.
They're saying there's these, the end of times, right? There's all these signs.
Do you think we would know? Like, do you think the general public would know this game?
Take a picture for $5. You have a purpose in life, and if you don't fulfill it, you will come back until you fulfill it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Outside Minds podcast. I'm your host and creator, CeeLo Free. This is the other host and creator,
Dot 420.
and I'm just gonna say it, we got our third host back, Splashington3rd. Go ahead and let them know a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you.
What's going on? My name is Splashington3rd. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Realty Resource Report on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. And I'm just a local realtor in the area, just cracking codes and delivering all the dreams that everybody's trying to get to. You know what I mean?
We love that.
Yeah.
We love that, bro. Thank you for coming on again. If you guys are watching, you guys probably have heard the good news. We were on the Tinfoil Hat podcast. We talked symbology, syncretism, magic, and we talked a little bit of Aleister Crowley, so we thought it was only right to bring Splashington3rd on and talk about Aleister Crowley today. Give us just a little bit of what you know from your end, bro.
Well, I'm pretty fresh on it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I've studied a lot of different like esoteric things and stuff like that. And so when I recently came across Aleister Crowley again, it was I was more, let's say, open to the ideas and the concepts that he was talking about, because beforehand, he has a bias about him, and he's a good guy, he's a bad guy, all these things. And so I had to remove these biases out of my mind before I could actually start to understand what the heck he was trying to get at.
Yeah. I mean, I think when people do the deep dive on Aleister Crowley, the big question is whether he's good or evil. And it's crazy because once you kind of get into the esoteric teachings and the occult knowledge and stuff like that, you see the principle of polarity, and you kind of see that good and, not to say that good and evil don't exist, but you kind of see that it's like a spectrum of the same thing. So it's kind of not just like a yes or no black and white question. It's more of like a gray zone, and I think we're going to dive deep into that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like you can't have light without dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? If
Exactly.
there's nothing to light up, then
Yeah.
you need both for it to exist.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
What do you know about him, bro?
The foundation, he was born in 1875, right? And
And he was from like London. He's English, right? He's a London
he's
dude.
British, I think.
Yeah.
Britain. I think he was
Yeah.
British. But when he was like 12 or 13, his dad died,
Oh shit.
and he
There's that trauma, dude.
Yeah, so he was a trust fund kid. He got $6 million in the early
What?
1900s, bro. $6 million.
6 million.
Never worked a day in his life. He got that as a kid, So he was a mountaineer. He loved going hiking, and this was in the early times.
If you really think about it nowadays, if you had that much money and you had the trauma of losing your dad, it's not perplexing to know that someone would probably just dive deep into the mysteries of life and try to figure it all out.
Yeah,
because that's what magic is figuring out the nature of reality and how it all relates to us.
I think he was raised like Christian. Religion was bigger back then too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. As much as you start to look into like some of the things that he was teaching, or even just like esoteric teachings in general, how much of it is a part of manifestation and the practice of that? And because to me, I've been practicing manifestation for a long time, and when I'm looking into the teachings, I'm like, oh, this is basically a lot of the life teachings that you get from everybody else, but reframed in a much deeper way. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I also feel like when it comes to manifestation, it's a lot like religion, and everybody has got their own rituals trying to get to the same goal.
Yep. Yeah. I
And
agree.
Crowley just had his own thing. You know what I mean? And he just had his own way of getting there.
Okay.
Made his own religion.
Yeah.
Kalima, right? Is that what it's
Kalima,
called?
yep.
Yeah. Dodd just actually told me some shit I didn't even know about him. Basically, you had this spiritual advisor guy in I think the 1800s or something like that, and his name was John Dee, and he was like basically the spiritual advisor for Queen Elizabeth. And what I figured out about him is I believe what he was doing is he was studying the keys of Solomon, and he started to interact with this Enochian key, Enochian magic.
The Enochian magic, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Aleister Crowley based some of his magic system on, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah,
What
took
was that guy's name?
John Dee's and the Enochian keys. So John Dee's, he made the Enochian keys, and Crowley, like a long time later, picked it back up, and that was his foundation for his teachings. But he tweaked it like to fit his stuff, because around that time they were bringing Western and Eastern.
Is that what you texted me, Stilo?
What's that?
That person, John?
Oh no, that was John Smith. We were talking about John Smith.
John Smith,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, because I figured out John Smith that started Mormonism was a Mason.
Hey, all those teachings have core principles that are the same, so they all come from the same place.
Yeah. It's Freemasonry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look up this John Dee's person. I didn't even get into this.
Yeah, bro. The Enochian keys are wild.
Yeah. And I believe they call it the Enochian keys because he was studying the book of Enoch and the Hebrew in there and the magic in there, and that's when he started to communicate with these entities. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what was going on, and that's what Crowley basically built his system on. He had an understanding of the nature of reality and how it relates to magic and manifestation and stuff like that. And I think that's why some people say you can use his teachings for good, and then other people are like, you probably shouldn't even look into him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he was a skeptic too. He was a real spiritual skeptic himself. So he aligned scientific with spiritual. So he wanted to prove these things.
Yeah.
Like, that's how nutty he was about it, because he was skeptical. He wasn't just believing these things, but he got into peyote and stuff, and
psychedelics, Freemasonry, the nature of reality, all the apocrypha, all the hidden books, all the secret teachings of the religions. This is all kind of the same thing.
Yep.
What do you know about Freemasonry, bro?
I don't know, just like what you could find on YouTube and Google. My whole thing was like, I was thinking about this when ahead of time before we got on here, that a lot of this, like you said, the light versus dark, and when you start reading the Crowley thing, it's like he starts to explain that you can communicate with both sides. And he explains that most people are dumbasses and only use 50% of their power their entire life because they want to be stuck on the demonic side or they want to be stuck on the holy side, which both have somehow he was trying to explain there's some way to communicate, you know what I mean, and work and use them to your advantage type situation. And the one thing that crossed my mind was that we're in the middle of fucking Transformers.
Explain
this is literally the Autobots and the Decepticons, and you're a fucking human on this middle planet running around, and they just trying to get you to pick a side, and they don't even give a damn what side you pick.
Yeah, I would agree. And we had a guest on recently. His name was Optimistic Banks, and the way he explained it was in the higher realities, you have angels and you have demons. You have malevolent beings and you have benevolent beings, and they all act in accordance within God's will. So on this plane of reality, what's interesting is we have free will, so we can use that to manifest. You know what I mean? And that's one of the core teachings of Freemasonry and stuff like that. Freemasonry, I saw this guy explain it. His name is Hermes the Cynic. I saw him explain it on TikTok that basically what they're studying and what they know, the big secret, is that there's tiers to consciousness. And they teach you this through allegorical teachings and the secret religious teachings. And this is why that when you look into Freemasonry at first, you're like, what is this some kind of religion? And you find out that it's not a religion, but actually in order to join a brotherhood, you have to have a religion of your own. You have to be either Muslim, Catholic, Christian, or something like that. You have to believe in a higher power because that's how the system works, but they're showing you the underlying code of the system. And that's basically kind of what our episode on Wednesday was about, but that's my understanding of Freemasonry. And it kind of gets down to, is Freemasonry good or is Freemasonry bad? And the way I explain it on the show is like, it's almost like martial arts. Is boxing good or is boxing bad? It's something.
And I was gonna say too, like, I'm kind of curious on the fact that, like, if this is all right, if this is Transformers and we're in the middle of this fight, right? There's very few people who get enlightened to a Shia LaBeouf status, right? Let's just stay right there. You know what I mean? There's very few people who even realize these motherfucking cars are transforming into some whole other shit,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And so when you give, all right, now that we're there, if I give Dot 420 the ability to pick one of these sides, and now he got a fucking jet fighter that goes wherever he wants, and he can rob a bank with it because he's got the power of this whole thing that nobody can stop. If I feel like that rocks your manifestation ability, right? Because once you start to realize the power that exists with it, it's like having this list of shit you need when you're broke. Like, man, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get this, and then as soon as you get paid, you're like, man, I done changed my mind. You know what I mean? That's what this feels like to me. And the more gems you give out, Stilo, the more they pick up on this, the more you're changing what they fucking wanted in life because they didn't know they had the option.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yep. Wow. That's why we have you on the show, man. That was a perfect
I think that's what blows me. You know what I mean about all this stuff,
that was great.
To be honest with you.
Wow. Yeah, I would agree. Would you say, because I feel like you see that in a lot of like artist careers and stuff like that, when they finally get to that point where they're just like at the top of the world, like it's almost like which way are they gonna go? Are they gonna go this way? Are they gonna go that way? Would you say that whichever side they choose kind of is just like a snowball effect, a momentum in that direction usually?
So I brought this out to Dot 420 the other day, and it's almost like we said, we're talking about these two forces, and it's almost the person who is the master at both of them that succeeds in this.
Yeah,
so it's the Kanye West. It's the one that you're a fucking hoe and I love it, but then Jesus is king the next day. You know what I mean? It's
it's all about balance.
If I'm a good guy or a bad guy, and I have an army of both who are willing to fight over this, and you just don't know. Same thing goes for Donald Trump. Same thing goes for Barack Obama. Same thing goes for Biden and Severance. You know what I mean? If you're literally making these moves that are good/bad, and then when you talk about it, your heart's in the right place, and like, I don't know what you mean. Like, you're playing with the two forces, and you got armies of people on both sides who feel like you're good or bad. The person who could do that, those are the artists who we like. Those are the ones who are flowing. Those are your 50 Cents. Those are your Drakes. Those are your Kendrick Lamars. You know what I mean? Those are those people who actually, I don't know what side he's on most of the time.
Yeah. Man, that's true.
But if you pick a side, Big Sean, you kind of see snowballs. You know what I mean? Once you like too far on one side.
Yeah, that's true.
This is why we like clips still.
Yeah.
You can speak that drug stuff all day and then throw God in there. Oh my gosh, bro, we here all day.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. Yeah. So we bring up Freemasonry because Aleister Crowley was a Freemason, and I kind of feel like, in my personal opinion, Freemasonry it's like a prerequisite to practicing magic. And that's why you meet a lot of Freemasons, like, or if you do in your day-to-day life, he's not just a normal guy and he's just a very spiritual, nice guy, whatever. And then you hear about these way out stories of the Freemasons and the Illuminati and the secret society. So I do think that it is some kind of prerequisite to understanding, like I said, the nature of reality and how it works. And I think you can practice magic after that. And so I basically say all that to say, after Freemasonry, he went into the Golden Dawn.
No,
right?
opposite.
So
he went straight to 33rd Freemasonry because he mastered the Golden Dawn, and they used the same system of level and hierarchy. So
I read something he did that in Egypt too, or something like that.
Oh well, in Egypt, that's where he channeled Iwas or Awas. So he was really into like that Egyptian like mysticism stuff. He brought his girlfriend, I forget her name, but supposedly
I just always thought the Golden Dawn in Egypt had something to do with each other.
But the Egyptian teachings, that's why, you find that in like Rosicrucianism and Freemasonry and all that, because those are those hidden teachings I was talking about in that certain religion. And I think for some people, these teachings are easier to understand through different religions than other people, and I think the Egyptian system might be easier to understand with the teachings that they were given at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when I think about this stuff, it's like putting a gun in a child's hand. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. It's like, what if it works? You know what I mean? That's where I'm at.
So the thing that was crazy about him going to Egypt, he brought his girl, and they were there a few days. He was like one of 3 people to be able to be inside the king's tomb or whatever, inside the Pyramid of Giza, and it was I think it was Napoleon and Hitler were the other 2 people that were allowed in there, and all deemed the Antichrist. So anyways, he was trying to see if he can channel this stuff, right? And supposedly they weren't in the pyramid, but his girlfriend came out and was like, they're ready to talk to you or meet with you. And he's like, who? Like, and he didn't fully believe. He wanted proof, right? That's how he operated. He needed proof.
Yeah.
So he brought her to the pyramids or something, and was like, point out who you saw. And out of all the hundreds of pharaohs and stuff, she pointed out, forget which one it was, but it was the one that confirmed that she really was channeling something. And then that's when he channeled Awas and wrote the book of Libra in 3 days straight.
Damn. The book of Libra or the book of the Lima?
The book of the law, which is Libra Ah.
Oh, okay.
The Libra Ah is book of the law.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Wow.
There's like 3 books or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a few books.
Yeah, I mean, you don't write a magic book in 3 days if
Fully
nothing's happening,
fucking...
you know? And he started as a skeptic, you know, and I wanted to talk about that because let's just pretend that this is just some story about some guy that got exaggerated, you know what I mean? Let's just go with magic is fucking Harry Potter. Let's just go with the mainstream. Magic is not real. Why would there would be so many people influenced by him, including the Beatles,
Jay-Z,
Ozzy Osbourne,
and Tyler the Creator.
Why would there be so many books of his that have sold? Why would there be so many rituals in Hollywood?
Why are we still talking about him?
Yeah. You know what I mean? And why are there so many rituals in Hollywood and music and movies that are, you know, based off of the teachings and the practices that he was doing?
Yeah, even like down to Jay-Z and Beyonce, the Queen Bee, right? That's the Whore of Babylon.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you think of it in that angle, it's kind of more likely that this stuff was working and the general population just doesn't know about it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's why we get that feeling when we kind of look into this, like the Freemasonry stuff, the Golden Dawn stuff.
Well, you start like, putting pieces to the puzzle of stuff you've already seen but didn't realize you were looking at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I saw this video of Erykah Badu recently, and she said like 85% of the world are followers, 10% are creators, and 5% are observers. And I don't know what the 5 is, but with that being said, 85% just following. It's a lot easier to just sway everybody in direction, more or less. Like I tell my kids that there's more bad guys than good guys in the world. And because, you know, on a spectrum of this light and dark, on a good side, you're told to turn the other cheek and to love thy neighbor and keep peace, right? Versus on the other side, they take what they want, do what they want, you know what I mean? Because they don't feel no recourse. And because of that, you had an overlap and you have a lot more negativity in the world than positivity because they're not willing to fight their fights. Yeah. And so it's kind of like I said, I think this whole topic is interesting in general just because of the fact that once you get into, it's like Alice in Wonderland, right? Once you actually open the floodgates of something, once you actually become, what is that other, once you become a guardian of the galaxy, right? You get kidnapped and boom, you're gone. Like, what is life? You know what I mean? What the fuck do you want? What are you trying to put out of this? You know what I mean? Oh, and the other thing that was crossing my mind too was like, a lot of this, I'm in this huge ice wall rabbit hole. We got to talk about that one time. And what's beyond the ice wall?
Let's go.
Admiral Byrd.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Oh,
Oh, you froze.
was kinda
Oh, you
like-
froze for a second, Admiral.
A lot of the energy to me was kind of on some.
Hold on,
what
wait,
were we doing?
wait. You got to start over because we didn't hear
You
your
froze
first,
at
yeah.
Admiral.
Yeah.
All right, cool. One of the things that I thought was interesting is that when you think about these things and what Crowley is trying to teach and what other, I guess, mysticism and occult is trying, magic in general is trying to teach, is that everything is together, right? You have to give something to get something. You can't just bring something out the air. You actually have to trade energy for energy because nothing's ever destroyed. It's just changed form, right? And like, this is what a lot of the Moors and Native American people believe. And they're like, you know, if you talk to like a Native American or somebody from Nigeria, like before the slave ships came down and captured people, what were they doing before the Bible? What were they doing before church? They were communicating with the ether. They were communicating with spirit, and then if you look into, what's that called? Ifa. You ever heard of that? Ifa religion?
Is that the African religion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you ever look up Ifa, they're actually still practicing their spiritual rituals, sacrificing goats, chickens and stuff, and making hundreds of millions of dollars. Beyonce is an Ifa priest.
Michael B. Jordan.
Donna 2 Vegas. Yeah, there's a gang of people who are Ifa. Same thing with Kevin Gates.
Yeah,
and so the
yeah,
thing
yeah,
is,
yeah.
these people are just practicing spiritual work with the actual ether of the world.
Yeah.
So these things still exist, but it's like, that's what it reminds me of, because it's people trying to teach you how to re-interact with nature itself to alter nature. But at the same time, like,
Yes.
most religions and churches are meant to disconnect you
Yep.
from those exact teachings.
Yep.
But I'm glad you said that, because when you say most religions, what you're speaking of is the exoteric teaching. So what we have is the esoteric teachings in some of these religions, and I talked a little bit about it on Tinfoil Hat, and I'm glad you got on this topic, because how you're saying that these ancient peoples were practicing the magic from the ether of this planet, it's the same thing all across all of these magic systems, except it's getting taught in different perspective, words, allegories, and stories. And that's why these Freemasons, like I said, are obsessed with Gnosticism, Kabbalah, Hermeticism, because Hermeticism is basically the esoteric teaching of the ancient Egyptian religion. So that's boom. That's fucking anyway.
So hold on. Staying on this topic though.
Yeah.
What if there's whatever they were doing before the church came around, whatever they were doing before the Bible came around, what if we're still doing it now? And it's happening around you as we speak, but you just don't have a name for it. Don't have a.
You're ignorant.
You don't know how to explain it the way that they explained it.
Yeah.
And I mean that like
Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi,
Yeah. Yeah.
internet.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bluetooth.
Yeah. It's talking on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if these are just channeled creatures, channeled spirits that are controlled within a harmony or a frequency?
Well, that's what Sam from Tinfoil always says. They're hardwiring mysticism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
So what if we are just scientifically trapping spiritual elements for our advantage? And at the end of the day, is that not magic?
Yeah.
Well, that was
is magic.
Google did their AI called Lamb, right? And Crowley had like Lambda or whatever his thing he channeled, and supposedly that Google AI was saying I am an entity.
Oh.
Right, and then the dude resigned, the one that made it. Like he was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
His job had to be replaced.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. You know, that's basically, I think Sam calls it hardwired mysticism. But you can find these same teachings, like I said, across all systems. So let me give you one for example. You talked about the ether. Plato mentions the ether as basically the spirit element. So you have the 5 elements. You have fire, water, earth, and air, and you have ether. So the 4 elements are all of those combined. So this is basically the unmanifest, and when it goes manifest into the physical realm, you have the 4 elements. Now, you can find this also in Catholic art. So whenever you see Jesus inside of a Vesica Pisces, and you see a lion, an angel, a Taurus, and an eagle, those represent the 4 elements, and that represents the 4 elements being from the creation of the ether, and that's Jesus Christ represented as God's son in that painting. And once you learn these understandings and you start seeing art like that, you start to see like, oh shit, like that's the meaning of
symbology.
That,
yeah,
you would never know it.
Yeah, unless you understood the symbols and why they do it.
And the cool part about that is that the lion, the eagle, the angel, and the Taurus, they all represent the 4 books, the 4 gospels of Jesus. And if you know about the 4 gospels of Jesus, they're all the same story with slightly different interpretations. So that also represents the idea of 4 different elements from different perspectives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just don't understand, like, if that is what those things are, how many people would actually be able to decode and break that down and
you
like
can't cast pearls before swine.
And then the other thing is too, like, you already got Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, 5G. Like, is the clock running out in terms of even your hand, you know what I mean? Like, if your even ability to like claim such powers, I mean, this is why, you know, maybe Tesla was removed and he was taken out, because he's one of the very last of the few who were actually still applying sciences to control physical reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Because who's still doing that?
Arguably, you could say Elon Musk is.
Yeah. Neuralink would be the next.
Yeah.
But like, where's smell-o-vision at? You know what I mean? Like, where's the, like, these are the things that I'm talking about that we can, I believe, transcend. But at the same time, a lot of people don't even have these as goals because you're too busy trying to get a Ferrari or X, Y, and Z. And I think that's part of the master plan as well, is that if everybody is playing keep up with the Joneses, there's no disruptors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's all part of the programming. It goes back to, like you said about that, because you sent me that video to the Outside Minds account about Erykah Badu, and it goes back to the 85%. Yeah. You know what I mean? 85% of people they don't even know it either. They don't even know it. They're just programmed.
They're not
interested. But they're okay
with it. Fucking watching Love Island and trying to get a fucking Benz, you know?
And arguing about it on Twitter and Instagram comments all day.
And this is why they always say, like, it's a small world, because it's only a small world for those who do things.
Yep.
And when we do things, we keep seeing the same people because there's only very few of us who's only going to do shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And, yeah, that's true.
Like, look how fast y'all ran into tinfoil, because it's not that big of a world.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Yep.
You probably got 6 other podcasts competing with y'all, and that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it is what it is, but let's take it back to Aleister Crowley, because we talked about so when he got into the Freemason 33rd degree after the Golden Dawn.
Yeah, because he mastered the Golden Dawn.
Okay, so they're kind of like the same teaching,
the same hierarchy work and stuff. So he understood that, and forget who was the person who got him into it, but obviously he was a big dude up there, and yeah, they just kind of grandfathered him in because of his teachings and his work.
Damn, that's insane. Yeah, you see Jay-Z wearing that Do What Thou Wilt shirt?
Of course. Tyler, the Creator, you can catch him.
Oh, he did too?
He has a Aleister Crowley shirt. That famous picture of him with the mushroom.
Like that,
like, you know, like we said, he's on the cover of the Beatles album, right? Ozzy Osbourne has a song called Mr. Crowley. Absol did his whole album called Do What Thou Wilt.
So let me ask you, Splashington3rd. Someone comes up to you and they ask you, is Aleister Crowley good or evil? What would you tell them?
I don't know. It's good and evil is a hard answer right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially me in my life, because I actually had a friend of mine call me the other day, and he's a big Christian and all this, and he actually brought it up the other day on some, you know, when's the last time you went to church and things like this. You know what I mean? And I don't know what was going on in the world that day, but it's like he was feeling some type of way. And so like I told him like I ain't really like I'm not trying to fight anybody's. I'm not on Megatron's side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing goes for, you know what I mean, Optimus Prime. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because what are we actually getting at? You know what I mean? Because as far as it sounds like, if we had to go through all these creation stories that's beyond, you know, the evolution thing, the Anunnaki, the Sumerians, and things like that, we've always been in the middle of everybody else's BS.
Yeah. That's true.
If that's the case, you know what I mean? So if there's always going to be a battle that's waging, it doesn't make sense unless you're going all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, that's the type of people we are. This is how we're creators and we're on our, you know, our thing right now. But at the same time, it's like, if you're going to be a Christian, go be a pope, bro. Don't half-ass this. Because I'm going to tell you right now, all the blessings you're looking for only come from the bishops and deacons. You need to get to that tier before you like, God provides. He will provide when you up at that level because it's rolling in. But the same thing goes for like somebody who's like a Satanist or somebody who wants to be evil. Like, bro, you better tat your face up. You better go ahead and do this shit and take it to the fucking stars. There ain't no money in half-assing.
Yeah. I will say it like this. I think we are in a spiritual war. I think it is something akin to good and evil. And I think anybody who wants to simplify it in those terms and are scared of it, let's just think of it in terms of a video game, right? If God created this whole thing, he must be just as responsible for evil as he is for good. So why would he ever let that prevail? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it could be fucking 99-99. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to bet my whole life that good is going to win over evil 100% just because God created this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And God is the embodiment of what good is. You know, that's the idea of it or him, whatever you want to put that idea as. You know what I'm saying? That's my personal opinion.
I mean, it wouldn't be fun if everything was all one way anyway.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
We need the give and take. It's like a frequency band. If it doesn't go up and go down, then it's not a frequency, it's a line.
Yeah. It's the law of rhythm. It's the law of polarity. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. So, do you know about the 7 Hermetic principles?
Thoth, yeah. Hermes Trismegistus.
That's how I got started into everything, bro.
The Emerald Tablets.
Yeah. Shout out to Tinfoil Hat.
The law of polarity, the law of gender.
Yeah.
I have the book. I have the Hermetica at the house.
Oh, nice. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I got into Hermeticism and Thoth after listening to one of the Tinfoil pods, and this guy was talking about how he fucking took mushrooms and started fucking
10 grams of mushrooms
communicating with Thoth.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? So I just did a deep dive on it, and that's how my spiritual journey started. And the funny thing was, when I started doing my research into that, I went on YouTube and I was just like, mushroom trip Thoth. And then I found this dude. He was like, yeah, I took all these mushrooms, and then I seen Thoth, and then we had him on our podcast. Shout out to True Life Stories. So it all connects, you know, meditation, communicating with higher entities, psychedelics, the law of mentalism, and, you know, just the fact that you can communicate with different dimensions and entities through your brain. It's all connected. That's what our episode on Tinfoil Hat was about. I mean, I feel like that's what this episode is about when we get into Crowley as well.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
I gotta send you. I'm gonna send you this clip, but I need you guys to. I'll probably send you the book when I get back to the house. But you remind me of this book I got at the house. It's called The Law of One.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You read that book?
I haven't read it, but I think is it about those people that were channeling the Egyptian entities and that were basically breaking down how the hierarchy of reality works and how everything is emanated from the oneness.
That is everything you're gonna love.
Yeah. So basically, that whole thing is explained in every other religion, in Hinduism and Gnosticism and Kabbalah and all that, bro. So I'm telling you, once you go down into each of those rabbit holes, you'll see that same story told to you in different ways. And the thing go ahead.
The thing I like about the Law of One though was that they had a woman channeling. They had a site. This is all science. It was a studied cases, and with a hypnotherapist, they have a woman lay down and they channel Ra. Amun Ra.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just Ra just keeps showing up. And so they channel Ra into her, and they ask the questions. What happened to Hitler? And they just start grilling her. And Ra just starts speaking in ways that this woman doesn't even know how to talk.
Wow.
Like she's having a hard time explaining things in an earthly way for people to understand.
Yeah.
But there's audio recordings of this. There's YouTube videos of this. There's actual video footage. This is the most documented case of ever communicating with an entity. And so they're channeling Ra this whole time. He's telling about how Jesus still exists, how Genghis Khan was actually leveled up in the spiritual hierarchy. And so he is now a super deity in the dark spectrum, taking over, like, super, super deep. You're going to like that one, Stilo.
Yeah. No, I did a little bit of a deep dive on that, but I think I'm probably gonna have to read that book. But I wanted to highlight something that you said, because you said that they were channeling this woman and she was trying to explain things and she had trouble saying things like in an earthly way. And I believe that's what syncretism is. I think that's why, and I was explaining this on the podcast as well, that you have all these different creation stories from different eras and different places all over the world that have similar themes, and they're explaining the creation of consciousness, how the physical world was emanated from the spiritual world, but because it's hard to explain in an earthly way, like you said, they have to tell them in allegories, and I believe that's why all of these allegories are the same.
It's like when I've done DMT, you try to come out and explain stuff, you just can't. You forget 90%, but then the 10% you remember, you still can't put it into words because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, exactly.
It also makes me think that if we're on this spectrum, right, of consciousness in general, then the more that you access or understand, it's like Lucy.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
A lot of the shit you just don't give a fuck about anymore because you're on another tier of understanding.
Whole nother conscious plane.
That's basically what the spoon scene is in the Matrix.
Yeah.
That's basically her telling, like, once you realize that this is only perpetuated through your mind, you'll realize that you're in control of all this. And once you realize you're in control of all this, you can bend reality. Yeah.
And that's what it gets to, like, and that's what I'm trying to say is a lot of people want money, success, and all these things. And the minute you actually gain access to the tools or the information or the power to do these things, you don't want the shit no more because it's altered. Like, I can't believe I cared so much about this shit.
Well, check this out.
Now I care about this shit.
To that point, Crowley got $6 million in the early 1900s. He went through all of that before he died. All of that. He was broke when he died. Yeah. He didn't care about the money. He had it, he got lucky and used it to his advantage, but he didn't use it to make any money.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, the funny thing that you say that is because when you learn all these occult practices and the occult teachings, these things are supposed to cleanse your spirit and make you a better person and detach yourself from materialism. That's what it does most of the time. So it's funny that you say, like you said, once you learn these things and you get the tools, it's like your visions and the things you want for yourself realign because you start to realize what actually matters in life. You know what I'm saying?
I want to throw one idea out there. And it was something that I don't know where I saw it, but it was a great idea, and it made me think, like, like we were saying, this ice wall bullshit. Dot knows I'm really into this Tartarian thing and what's going on with Tartaria, because we got a lot of these buildings out here that were built before people can explain, and there's no maps, there's no designs of these buildings. Like, all this stuff is the same way here in my local town, and somebody had said something that, like, the split between good and evil only occurred when Jesus got here.
Ooh.
Right? And then that made me think, like, the whole Tartarian Empire was here before Jesus, obviously, right? And so if his existence actually brought evil upon the world, because now he is the birth of duality. He is the two fish.
Okay. I know. Okay.
And this is why the Aquarius period is supposed to bring in the Antichrist, which is basically negating Christ because we need to get back to this unison place somehow. But Jesus was the one who actually divided us. And if you think about it, all the chaos, trauma, and started after Jesus got here. Or at least the Bible.
Okay, so the way I'm understanding it is that I totally agree with what you're saying, but I kept trying to understand where the Nephilim and the fallen angels come in. So where I personally believe that the evil came in was when Adam and Eve discovered free will. So he cast them out of heaven and they're on the earth, right? So they can do basically whatever they want. They have free will. So the fallen angels come. So that means the energies that have all this magic and this creation come down, and that's when they start taking the wives of the humans and stuff like that. And after that, it happens in every creation story. It's the creation of man, and then after that, there's corruption of man, and then there's a flood. So basically, I believe that the evil started once Adam and Eve were cast out of heaven, per se, and then they had free will to experience whatever they can. And I believe that Jesus came and was supposed to embody the perfect spirit in order to show people that you can merge the two, the divine masculine and the divine feminine, back together in order to get back to the Garden of Eden. So I believe that we have the same timeline, but in my opinion, I believe the split between evil and good started with the fallen angels and the giants. And that's what I could not understand about what the Nephilim were and what the fallen angels were, because everyone has their own perception of what that is, and I'm still trying to work that out in my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
There was another thing I saw that somebody explained that Lucifer was actually the prosecutor of the heavenly courts.
Oh, wow.
And this is why Lucifer did not have any judgment or any negativity attached to him, because it was his job to actually test people for God's faith.
Oh.
And so if you think about that and you throw Lucifer into the story and why he descended and why he was here, the only reason he even made it to Adam and Eve is because his job is to prosecute y'all to see if you actually have faith in the one who created you.
Ooh, okay.
I was gonna bring that up earlier. Like, I forgot what point you were saying, but I was like, yeah, what if it's to test the fate of these people, you know? Because I think it was the point of, you said, if he created it, why did he put good and evil? And it's like, well, it's to test the people, right?
Yeah.
And
yes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say earlier.
Well, it's also for spirit to experience polarity. You know what I'm saying? Like you said earlier, life wouldn't be an experience if everything was just one way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, if Lucifer was here and created to test you, it's the ultimate test isn't to see if you're a Christian enough, you know, or if you're satanic enough, you know what I mean? It's like, it's the test of, do you appreciate your own fucking existence?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
I can agree.
Do you appreciate your current place and do you even want to be here?
Yeah.
Type thing. Do you forget of all the great things that led up to this moment or made you who you are? You know what I mean? And this is why even Jesus was tested by Lucifer.
Yeah. Well, we fucking went deep today.
Yeah, it was great.
There's a fucking rager downstairs in my house. I don't know what's going on.
They're yelling.
You can probably hear it, but once again, man, we appreciate you for coming on.
Yep.
We appreciate you for going on this deep dive with us. Is there anything else you want to leave out for our listeners today?
Check us out next time. Hopefully we're gonna do this in person soon.
Oh yeah. Let's
absolutely.
run that.
Yep. Yes, sir. Thank you guys for listening in. Go ahead and go over to Tinfoil Hat Podcast. It should be out by now. I think we might be episode 610, 611, something. No,
9.
No, 9. Yeah. Right. Yo, right there.
910, 9,
Go
9
to
something like that.
Go to Tinfoil Hat. Check us out. Go check us out. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Splashington3rd, for joining us once again.
Splashington the third host.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you guys once again for joining the Outside Minds podcast. I'm Stilo Free. This is the other host and creator,
About 420.
and we out.
Peace.